Now it is time to understand why they managed Encanto like Toyota company. Is it because they both are industry or they wanted to make a better car in their animation? Hi everyone, this is El from Analyze. We learned that based on Stacy metrics, Encanto is a complex project. So we need an agile method. But which one is the best for Encanto? I made a questionnaire that by answering that, we're one step closer to choose our method. Let's see what are those questions. The first question is, do your project have a specific time? It means that if you have any deadline or anything relates to time in your project. If I want to make it simple, if someone comes to you and asks about when this task is going to be done, what's your answer? You're going to say a time, or your answer is I don't know. It's not a bad thing to say I don't know at all. But let's go to another question. Can you repeat pipeline or part of a pipeline in 2 to 3 weeks? For example, if you are in a pre-production part and you're doing server, serial, and design, do you have this chance to take a look at whatever you've done before, and do you have this chance of throwing some parts away or even make some parts better, or I don't know, even have this chance to take a look at if you have done a great thing or not? The third question is your focus on work you're going to do or on the process? What does it mean? It means that you have defined some task in the earliest stage of a project, and it's kind of like your Bible that you can change, and you're gonna go until you do all of them. It doesn't mean that you will know how to do them all. There's somehow something like written in the stone you can't change, you don't even feel that you need to look back and change something. Last but not least question is, are you going to allow to get back and take a look at your project and throw some parts away? For example, you've designed some part of environment, but when you made them as model, you think that you don't need them, or you need to change the design, or whatever happens in your team. Do you allow to throw them all away? Do you allow to take a look even you're doing a good thing or not? By answering these questions, you're going to make a roadmap for you and your team. But by answering those, did you mention that there was something that you weren't feel comfy with them, and it wasn't easy for you to answer yes or no, and you weren't sure about answering them? Is it your problem that you didn't know the answer of question, or the questions have problem? Okay, no need to be worried. Come with me to find out the answer. For answering this question, as we have 4 questions and 3 answers, we can have 81 possible answer for this question. But we need a pause here and just forget about the questions I asked, because I'm going to talk about 3 famous agile methods here. First one is a Scrum. Scrum is like when someone comes to you with an idea, and you can identify that when it's going to be finished, and there are so many unknown parts in your mind. So you make decisions that make that idea, but you don't know when it's going to be finished. I know what is your question. You're asking that if you don't know when it's going to be finished, so what about the sponsors, money, prices, and whatever will happen for the project? In Scrum, we have some rules that help us to answer all kind of this question. First of all, we have some roles: product owner, a scrum master, and a scrum. Product owner is in between you and client. He's going to transfer every data from team to client and client to team. A scrum master is someone between product owner and team, which is called a scrum. Based on a scrum rule, you need to look back every 1 to 3 weeks and see what you have done. They call it a sprint. There are some other rules in a scrum. For example, for following up a task, you need to have a stand-up meeting, which is a less than a 15-minute meeting session that you have to hold it as a scrum master. It should be at the exact time every day. There are 3 questions that should be asked. First one is, what did you do? Second one is, what will you do? And the third one is, if you have any blockage or not. But if you have a blockage, is it a 15-minute enough for answering or finding the answer? For sure, the answer is no. So what should you do? You should put all these kind of questions after the stand-up meeting. It means some other meetings with your team after stand-up. Okay, another thing is that the progress will be shown in burn down chart. Let's have a look at another one, Kanban. Kanban is another agile plan, but the way is completely different from Scrum. In Kanban, you have specified a deadline for whatever you're going to do, and the process will be shown in a Kanban board. In Kanban board, we have some columns. The general columns are to do, work in progress, and done. And how we can understand the blockage in our task. They made a decision that the amount of tasks in work in progress should be limited. For example, it should be limited in 5. Imagine you have 4 artists and 5 tasks are in work in progress. There are 10 tasks in to do and some other tasks in done. But you're going to move from to do in work in progress, and you see that the work in progress limitation is full. What should you do? You have 4 artists and 5 tasks. It shows that it might one task be in the hand of one artist. So it means that artist is going to do 1 and 2 tasks at the same time, or one of them is blocked. You know what to do. Help him to do its task or help the others to move on. To sum up, the difference between Kanban and Scrum is that when you're focusing on work, you're doing Kanban. But when your focus is on thinking more, you're doing Scrum. What has I told you before? No one is better than the other. I forgot about their kids. Scrumban. I love these kids, to be honest. By my idea, Scrumban inherits best feature of its parents. You know, in Scrumban, we have Kanban board. Tasks are identified from the beginning, but we can take a look at what we have done when we find it is needed. But there are some little changes in the board. First of all, we added some other column in the board. And the second thing is that the limitation went to do part. What does it mean? It means that if you have a limitation of 5 tasks for to-do column, you can assign another one to an artist. So how could it help us? Let's take a look. When we see our board and we understand that we can't add more tasks, it means that we couldn't move forward some tasks and the column is not empty enough for adding tasks. The question comes to our mind, why this happened? So we will go to find out that why those artists didn't do their task and why the work in progress part is not that much empty that we can take some task from to-do part and make it empty for another new task. It's kind of like an alarm, and in this situation, it is time to take a look at what we have done. Okay, there are lots of details that we're going to talk about, but we got a general idea about 3 famous agile methods. Let's get back to our questions. I'm sure that now you got the idea of those questions, and now you can answer them better. Until you're answering them, I will go to make another video and talk about more details. Till the next video, bye.